Another rough day in court for both sets of attorneys in the corruption trial of New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez. That is, the judge gave all the attorneys an earful. This as Menendez staffers continue to push back on allegations made by the prosecution. And for the very latest, including a conversation with former New Jersey Governor Jim McGreevey, let's bring in Dominic. He's been covering the case gavel to gavel.
And good evening, Richard. In just a minute, we'll get to our interview with the former governor of New Jersey, Jim McGreevey. But let's start with the news of the day from the trial. Former staffers of the senator took to the witness stand today, and they are telling an entirely different story of what the feds allege. Menendez's former employees like Jody Herman say prosecutors have it dead wrong. Any comment, ma'am, about testifying this morning?
Nope.
Prosecutors allege Menendez tried to pull strings to help co-defendant Dr. Solomon Melgen with the doctor's port security business in the Dominican Republic, actually threatening to hold a Senate hearing. But Herman, who worked twice for Menendez, testified that the senator had worked on port security issues in an effort to fight against drugs coming to America long before Melgen had a port security contract with the government there. This case is winding down soon. What ultimately is going to happen?
Going to be exonerated. We're going to keep telling the truth for the next several days so that the jury understands what's really going on here.
Another staffer, Michael Bernard, recounted the meeting the senator had with the Health and Human Services Secretary. At the time, Dr. Melgen had an $8.9 million overbilling Medicare dispute, a process called multi-dosing with the drug Lucentis, triple billing for the one-time use eye drop. Bernard testified that the meeting was only about broad policy issues of billing and not Melgen's case. In the 18-count indictment, the government accuses Menendez of lobbying Obama administration officials to benefit Melgen in exchange for bribes in the form of more than $700,000 in political contributions, luxury vacations, and flights on Melgen's private jet. And so, Richard, once again, federal judge William Walls criticized all the lawyers involved, saying, quote, and raising his voice, "You're all supposed to come here with pedigree reputations," while in the judge's words, display those pedigree reputations. That from Judge Walls just a few hours ago. Now, we also sat down with the former governor of New Jersey, Jim McGreevey, for a candid interview. Well, first of all, Governor McGreevey, thank you for joining us here on Richard French Live tonight. You said you wanted to say something to Richard. Richard is watching you as we speak right now. Go ahead, here's your opportunity.
Richard, one of my favorite people on God's good earth. I can't say it's good to see you, but knowing you on the other side, my friend, wishing you all, to you and to your family, and thank you for your service to this region and to the nation, and for bringing news to people's homes, and for your thoughtful commentary and insightful questioning, and it's a blessing, and I just hope you and your family, I wish you all the best.
So, Governor, why are you here tonight in support of Senator Menendez?
Well, you know, Bob Menendez has been a friend for many years. We served in the state legislature together. He's somebody who sort of grew up in a Cuban-American household. He's always been sort of fighting for working families. And I think Dominic, to large measure, it's you know, in America, he represents somebody who believes in the values that we believe in. I mean, you know, life wasn't handed to him. He worked hard, he went to school, he earned money, he paid for his tuition, he went to law school, he was involved in government. He made life better for the people in his community, made sure the streets were clean as a mayor. You know, Bob was sort of crazy with the snow removal. I mean, he made the community, made Union City better. And so why I'm here? Because in the state legislature, he's somebody who always fought for working families, for people who came from, you know, people who came from average means, but were proud to be Americans, proud to be New Jerseyans. So he's been a great blessing in my life and a man of great integrity, and I've just been blessed to watch his children grow up, and I'm here as a friend and as a supporter.
So, Governor McGreevey, I'm interested in what's going through Senator Menendez's mind and you bring the unique perspective. You and I have talked about this before. When you resigned as governor unexpectedly, announcing that you are a gay American, you know what it's like to go through controversy. You know what it's like to see all these cameras that Menendez is seeing each and every day, the national headlines. What is going through, in your opinion, Senator Menendez's mind?
Well, I can only tell you what was in my mind. And, you know, you get back to basics. You get, you know, and I think, you know, I was reading a great quote by Thomas Merton, who was a Catholic priest, and talks about how so many of us have troubles or challenges in our lives. And I think, for me, you get back to basics. And what are those basics? Those basics are God, your faith, your family. I mean, your family is so important, and you sort of reorient yourself. You understand that. I remember when I was in seminary, one of the exercises was, the dean said, you know, imagine who's going to be around your bed on those last words, those last breaths you're having. You know, and literally visualize it. I mean, is it your children? Is it a loved one? And so you really begin to go back to those core basics. And for me, it was my faith, my Christianity, it was my family, it was the understanding what was important in terms of service. So, I mean, you know, Bob grew up in the same way I did, and I know, having his children here, his faith. I saw him at the cathedral, at the Basilica in Newark, and you just go back to those core values that gave you strength. Because at the end of the day, all these trappings, I mean, for me, in the governor's office, you know, the state police, I mean, who couldn't have been any better, but, you know, whether it's the helicopters, the mansion, that comes and goes. You know, as my grandfather would say, that, you know, there are no U-Hauls behind hearses. So you realize in life what's real and what isn't real. So when you're going through a time of challenge or difficulty, either with a family member or in a career or in a political circumstance, you understand what's important in life. And Bob does. He has those core values. He has that basic strength, that foundation, which is going to provide him a great source of strength.
And so, Richard, the former governor of New Jersey, in our interview, he wanted to start it praising you, and that's exactly what he did. We are anticipating the start of week number 8, which begins on Monday. We have been told to expect some high names, high-profile names, to testify on behalf of Senator Menendez. Reporting from the federal courthouse in Newark, I'm Dominic Carter. Richard, let's go back to you in the studio.
Coming up next, with all the drama we see inside the White House, it's not always easy to focus on issues that really matter, like bipartisan efforts to prop up the Affordable Care Act, as well as keep millions of Americans insured, or for that matter, the millions of Americans in Puerto Rico hoping for help to rebuild and even survive. We're going to get into those topics and much more with Hudson Valley Congresswoman Nita Lowey. Andrew's conversation with her straight ahead.